We're live. Welcome to UTB Blogcast number 22. We've got Dave, we've got Bartron, and we've got a new member to the cast. We've got Kevin. You want to go by Kevin, Kevin?
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah, my parents spent lots of time on it, so why not?
There you go. So, where do we want to start? We want to start talking about the renders that we saw, the upcoming Vienna.
Sure. It looks kind of ridiculous to me. I mean, it's like someone took a keyboard, passport keyboard, and slapped it to the bottom of the rectangle phone. It just seems like awkwardly long. And people thought the passport was awkward, and that looks even worse. So I wouldn't really trust it. If they were going to come up with something like that, I think would be a little more with a square screen, basically an Android version of a passport, something like that, just to make a cheaper form factor.
I kind of like it. I was thinking if they had those dimensions, and with the passport 3-row keyboard and a touchpad on it, the tool belt, along with BB10, I would be all over that phone. That would be my next phone.
Oh yeah, what a touchpad! Yeah, that would be interesting because then you're looking at almost an Android version of the Classic.
Right. Well, I would still prefer to have BB10 on it, but you know.
Screen would probably be bigger, from judging from the renderings. I mean, we don't obviously know the dimensions, but that would be interesting. I don't know if the Android crowd would go for that, because basically because basically the whole advantage of Android is just the apps. Are people who want that form factor, the Classic, with the tool belt and the old Blackberries, like the Boldenet, are they really into a bunch of apps? I mean mainstream apps, like that where Android really shines. I'm not too sure.
Well, what does anybody think that the screen size relates to? It doesn't look 16:9. Is it more 4:3, or it doesn't look 1:1? Or I mean, if you look at the passport kind of thing, that's kind of a 1:1. And the renders, although I didn't spend an awful lot of time looking at them, kind of made me think that it was a little bit taller, sort of a 4:3 type of environment. Then the keyboard here, is it a 3-row or a 4-row? I forget. I didn't look at it much.
It's a 4-row.
Okay.
I just pulled up some of the renders, and it's 4-row.
Oh, so it is a 4-row on it?
Looks cheapish. It does look plasticky and cheapish, but at the same time, if it's a lower-based device, then it's the Q5 scenario.
So it's like a Hawaii 4.0.
Or 3.5.
That was a joke. I was waiting for that.
I think you're right, Dave. It does look like between a square and a 16:9 rectangle. Yeah, I think the renders anyways do make it look like something around 4:3, but actually a little longer than 4:3 even. So that's why I don't trust that render, at least for the screen dimensions. Yeah. I don't see BlackBerry doing something between 4:3 and 16:9. That's just too specialized.
And the reason I bring it up is because I think, as we all know from Passport BB10 land, when you're looking at running an Android app, there's some changes that you have to make to get some things running, and thankfully BlackBerry thought enough to be able to swipe down from the top and change the aspect of what you're looking for or looking at. Sorry. And they did that because they know that a 1:1 experience is not an average Android app experience. So you're at a 4:3. I think you're probably still doing the same thing. Like, what Android app is naturally ready for that?
Well, if you go look at the Android phones, I mean, when you're looking at the top Android phones, the Galaxies and the HTCs and all those fun little guys, they're all about the same screen size. But I spent a fair amount of time in a carrier store this week, and there's a lot of cheaper phones that have a lot different screen sizes. I mean, we know how fragmented Android is already, but I don't think that would be a first phone that was that odd size. And welcome, chap.
Hey guys, how you going?
Hey, chap.
We're doing well. What's going on upside down?
Oh, the usual Saturday activities, yard work, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
okay, I'm in.
are you used to, the toilet flushing the wrong way?
What are you talking about? It's flushed the right way all of my life.
No. No. Okay, never mind.
Okay. What's happening, guys?
We're talking about the renders that popped up of this Vienna phone, Vienna sausage phone.
Yep.
So, I mean, looking at the renders, I mean, I know nothing about it at all, but it does look like what Ian was saying, more of a cheaper phone, like a fleet phone. Whereas
Yeah.
I can't see a lot of companies rushing out and buying the Priv for its, build team, but perhaps this would be the phone that they could use that for.
So what are we? Has there been any scuttlebutt on what the internals might be? Like, would they reuse Passport internals, or I guess if they're gonna call it a fleet phone or something like that, then why not reuse something existing?
I really don't know. I haven't really looked into it much.
Yeah.
I still think this might be. I hear that, Brad. You poor bugger.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I still wonder whether this is too early to be talking about. I mean, have we verified any sources for these renders?
Not at all.
We see these things come out and immediately we go, oh, that's it. That's the device, and we run with it. And I think, we've seen renders, we've seen Wish phones before. Anybody seen the latest Blackjack edition? I wonder. I just wonder if we're a little too early.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you think of the word render, it usually has to do with fat, but we're kind of thin on render here. Something. That was a bad joke, Dave. So yeah, talking about hardware is probably a waste of time. I don't even know if what you're looking at is real. Anyway, I mean, let's face it. What were the renders of the Priv or whatever it was called before it came out? It kind of ended up looking accurate, didn't it? In retrospect, same thing with the Passport.
That's true. But I think a lot of the speculation about specs was way off base, and that caused a lot of anxiety and tension within the community. And I think, having a render, we suddenly start talking specs, which we're talking about specs now. Specs will be different once this device, if this device exists, comes out. We just create this angst and confusion amongst the community and disappointment when what we expect doesn't eventuate, or what we wish for doesn't eventuate.
Yeah. I have specs on my screen, so that's better.
You've got specs on your face too, Dave.
Yeah. It's all good now.
Oh, boy.
So what? Well, let's.
Sorry for killing that, guys.
Let's talk about what we do know. And Dave, how's it going about the Priv?
Well, my brother, I've probably well, I wouldn't say moved on, but I've that's the wrong choice of words. I'm learning more about the unit, and that's not necessarily a good thing to say, but I'm learning more about it. It is, after all, an Android device, and I spent an awful lot of time not wanting to be on an Android device. All of my smartphone world has been that way for I don't know how many years, but I am learning an awful lot more about the device, and I do appreciate it for what it does. The BlackBerry things that have been brought to it, I've learned to appreciate more. The differences in the hub, they're there and they can be improved on, but I still use them all the time. It's not like they're worthless and I've gone to individual email apps. You'd be an idiot to buy a Priv and ignore the hub. That's just pure idiocy. Do I like the device? Yeah, I do. I'm this close to liking it as much as the Passport. But the amount of the difference here is a huge mountain to climb. In order to get this close, they've done a great job. The build quality of the machine, the camera, the keyboard, those kinds of things are fully appreciated, and although the underlying software is Android, of course, they've done some things with it that make it slightly more than tolerable. Acceptable is a word I'd use. The Passport, although in my humble opinion, is the more powerful, smooth, and ergonomically, software-wise, it's ergonomically a better fit for getting stuff done. You push less buttons. You do fewer things to get more things done. I don't know how to put it exactly, but I miss the peak. I miss a bunch of things. And some of those things are going to come like blend, and I don't want to rehash what I've said already, but let's hear about a new Priv user, and that would be Brad, who found himself amazingly at a AT&T store and got sucked into the vortex that is buying a new BlackBerry device, as we all read. And that was a good article too.
Yeah, I accidentally bought a Priv.
Yeah.
It just
Wasn't the intention. Wasn't intention, but I did it. And I'm handling things a little bit differently than Dave. I'm not going all in. I'm not making myself use it as a daily driver. My daily driver is still my Passport. I didn't swap over my BB, MID, anything like that. I had a second line, and it was currently on my Z10, and to be honest, I hadn't even charged that in a couple weeks. So I just flipped over my Z10 onto the Priv. Coming from the Passport, no, let's say coming from Android, because I've always had Android devices. I've always had a tablet. I've got a tablet right now. And my big thing with those has always been, you see the apps, you see the fun, you see everybody else have them, you think, oh, I want that too. They seem to be enjoying it, and then I get it, and about 10 to 15 minutes into having the device, I'm upset, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed. None of those devices have ever been anything that I would be able to use as my primary machine. I've always had that issue with Android. It's like, why, even back on BBOS was better for me as far as my work routine, my workflow, than the newest Android. They just didn't match up. With
At
what
that time, you
BlackBerry's,
mean? Because
at
back then
that
it
time.
would have been gingerbread,
yeah, and I'm talking at that time.
which sucked way more than balls. Whatever.
I mean, honestly, even today, I think if I didn't have BB10, I think if I was still on one of my old torches compared to my tablet, my Android tablet, I would still be using my torch as my daily driver. Just because, I mean, communication is of utmost importance to me, and that's always been my issue with Android.
Yeah.
Now, with what BlackBerry's done to the Priv, I'm sorry, it doesn't compare to BB10 to me so far. And like I said, I'm not diving full in like Dave is. I'm using this as a secondary, and I'm doing the same thing that I've given other reviewers a hard time about, not actually diving in and using it for 2 weeks before they comment on it. But I mean, I'm treating this as, I'm not trying to use this as an Android device. I'm trying to use it as a BlackBerry device. And what they have done with Android on the Priv is make it usable. My other Android devices just simply would not have been usable to me. But at the same time, like the it's got the hub. It's a working hub. It's just not as quick and easy as the BB10 hub, and I find myself going places sometimes that I didn't intend to go. So even now, with both phones, all of my email is still done through my passport. The email is really frustrating me because even though it's through the hub, it's taking you to, what is that, the Gmail app, the email app? I really don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. It's not what I'm used to. It's not what I prefer.
Well, I don't touch the Gmail app. I don't touch any mail app.
But I think you are, Dave, because when you open up an email on your Priv, for me anyway, I'm getting this this red background, and if I scroll down, I see the other emails in that tree. That's what I'm used to on Android.
I always figured when it came out that they were using the Gmail libraries.
I believe they are.
Just hooking the hub UI into it instead of what you'd get on BB10, and so as a result, you're still, it's basically you're basically just linking the hub to the Gmail app. So
well, I can
show this. Well, I can show this. This
show whatever you want.
Well, okay. This is one of my email alerts I get. This one is BlackBerry News through Gmail, and I open this up from my hub. But if you notice, let me stop that alert here. You get that little G showing it's coming from Google, and you scroll all the way down, and you've got all the other emails. That's Google Mail. That's not that. This is how Android works. I don't like that. I just don't like it. But what I do like, what I really enjoy, and what I'm using more than the hub is this little swipe up gesture on the icon for BBM. And I want this on BB10 because when you swipe it up, you get all your recent chats going on, and to me that's even easier than going into the hub and looking at all of your BBMs. So I mean, there's things I really like about this. The screen is amazing. It's a beautiful screen. Coming from the square screen that I really appreciate and said that I enjoyed more than one of these, whatever you want to call it.
Slab.
Yeah, the slab. I'm enjoying the slab. The keyboard, virtual keyboard, I absolutely love. The physical keyboard I'm having a really hard time with, and I'm really just using it as a mouse. And it's not because it's smaller, it's because the fourth row is back, and I'm not used to that anymore.
Well, Brad, the email thing, I've got my work, Office 365, my personal Outlook.com address, a Gmail address as well, and you know, of course, BBM, Facebook, SMS, whatever in here. And for the basic use of the hub, I don't find it an awful lot different than on BB10. And I'm talking basic usage. You know, I can color the accounts along with the LEDs, so I know that a red LED is my what I've made my Office account, Office 365. So all my work emails are red LED, and my Outlook personal one is another color. I think I gave it orange, and no, Gmail's orange, and the other one is blue. And so that's how they look in the hub. That's the LEDs that they activate, colors. And I've changed the swipe actions left and right. Like when you swipe left on a message, it kills it. And when you swipe right, by default, I think it wanted to archive it. But I changed that to be a toggle between red and unread. I miss the triage. I get what you're saying. But to dive into it and use it all day, every day, I think you need to do that. I think you need to do that. Just do it, even for a lousy 3 days or something. And I'm not saying it's better, because it isn't. BB10 Hub is better. You would dislike it less if you used it all day.
I'm sure, and I'm not. You know, coming from the Android viewpoint, comparing it to my previous Android machines, it's amazing. It's great, and it truly is amazing. But comparing it to my Passport, I would just prefer to stay on my Passport. So I mean, for new users, for users that aren't on BlackBerry 10, which is the majority of the world, obviously, it's a great device. But I know, like myself, I would be disappointed if that was the only option that we had. You know,
Yeah. I get it.
Azimsa wrote that post also, and I think she's in the same position that I'm in. That, you know, it's like we just can't lose BB10. We can't.
Yeah, no, I get it. I pick up my Passport, and the I can't believe I got sucked into the keyboard, the hardware keyboard, as hard as I did. I can't believe I got sucked in, because I was a slab guy. Even when I had my Torch 9800, I usually used the on-screen keyboard bizarrely. Think of how small that freaking thing was. And there was very few fingerprints on the PKB of my 9800. Who the hell's like that? Well, dummies like me. And when the Z10 came out, and I had a Storm before that, so figure that out. And when the Z10 came out, I went, yay! Got the Z10 and was a virtual keyboard guy. Loved it, still do. It's the same thing on the Priv. And upgraded to a Z30. Loved it, still do. Virtual keyboard, absolutely loved it. And then when the Passport came out, I almost had the same experience that I did go buying the Priv. I went on launch day, my birthday, I went to the store and with trepidation looked at the Passport, and like you, I knew what was going to happen. I walked out with it, and it took me a while to get used to that big, fat 3-row keyboard, and that thing is just a beast. I mean, I love that thing, and I'm not trying to wean myself off of it, but I'm trying to use the smaller one on the Priv and getting back into the slab Z30 type of virtual keyboard. They're both absolutely beautiful to have, but that Passport is an unbelievable piece of equipment.
Yeah.
I put it on par with the Priv, not below. Not at all. No
you know, there's a thread going on in our forums right now. What's the best BlackBerry? And to me, it's after using the Priv for not even a week yet, I haven't even had it a week yet, I could strongly answer the Passport is the best BlackBerry ever.
It's a difficult thing for me to argue with that. It's very, very powerful, has lots of RAM, especially on native apps. It is so fast. And then you've got BB10 operating system, which is ridiculously hard to beat. Personally, I think, everybody on this panel is going to say it's the best operating system on the planet. I don't know.
I was gonna write it as a post, but let me just jump in and cut off Dave rudely. That was really rude. I'm sorry, Dave. But I was just thinking. Did you want to finish your thoughts? Or?
No, you know what? I don't give a shit.
There it is. That's one.
No, there's two. There's something I absolutely love about this, and there's something that I absolutely hate about it, and it's not something that I've heard anybody else really talk about.
I know what you're going to say.
Well, what I love about it is the fact that when I walk into a place and I see we have an app, I can get it. There's no question on if I'm going to be able to get an app to work on this. However, at the same time, the only apps I put on this are apps I have on my Passport that I use on my Passport. So I haven't really gone any further than that, but just
hang on, I'm going to shoot a big shotgun hole in what you just said. My first experience in that disappointment was trying to get Box, one of the most ubiquitous cloud services on planet Earth, to work on my Priv. What does Uncle Dave do? He pushes the Google Play button, like so many people do. He types the word box in the search box. It comes up dry. It comes up empty. Oh my God. How come I can't find box on Google Play? That's retarded. Do they go out of business? No.
Not yet.
That can't be. So I cheated like I normally would on my Passport or any BB10 device. I went to alternate resources. And my first hit was, because it's a web pipe to Google Play, is apk-dl.com. So I went there and I typed in box, and there it was. And when I went to download and install it, it said, this app is not compatible with your device. Yeah, I know. Things change. So then I went to, the story's not finished, damn it. So then
I'm sorry, I had to test it.
So then I went to Amazon, because, that's what BB10 guys do. And lo and behold, there's Box. So I downloaded it. It installs. I log in. I can use it. And you know what? I went looking for the icon the next day, and it was not to be found on the Priv. I went to a file manager, and I included Box, and it works absolutely perfectly. And nowhere was the icon to be found. And then, might have been yesterday, I don't know, maybe the day before, I deleted it and went back into Google Play, and there it was. So they fixed something. My point in this shaggy dog bloody long story is that one of your harbingers of doom was that it's an Android device and not everything works, and so there was one of them.
Well, cloud services, I had a similar issue with. Was it the? Well, I wouldn't say similar, but yeah, the Box support on BlackBerry 10 is way better than on iOS, not just in terms of quality, but in terms of feature set. And I figured that it's just because the Box kind of realizes, I was going to say figures, but they realize the vast majority of iOS users are going to use the iCloud, and I'm guessing that the vast majority of Android users are going to be using Google Drive. So they're probably not going to pump too much resources into their app for iOS if like 99% of the people are going to use iCloud.
Well, and also, you know what? iOS doesn't have a file system. So there's no such thing as file system apps that can include cloud services. You know, it's just not as available at all.
Going back, the thing I hate the most, I'll just say the thing I hate, because I haven't really ran into too many things I've hated about this, but the thing I hate about the Priv is its thinness. It's extremely thin, and that's what so many reviewers are saying is a good thing. And that's what, Sir Johnny Ives over there at Apple is trying to get their phones as thin as possible. And oh my God, I can't handle this thin of a phone. I will be getting I will be getting the thickest case I can find for this thing this coming week. I mean, is it comfortable for you, Dave, to type on? Really?
Well, I'm a little more adaptable than you.
Apparently, but apparently you can teach an old dog new tricks, huh?
Anyway,
but Brad, you'd like thin phones. I've read it all over the internet.
Yeah, that's what everybody seems to tell us, but no, it's the same thing as the tablets. They're getting the iPad as thin as possible. I want something that feels like the playbook.
Yeah.
I need to have something there.
I like the heft. I like being able to have a device that's not only good for communications, but it's a freaking weapon.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to hear somebody else out there say that thin isn't in.
The thing about the Priv is, though, you could open up the thing, and now it's a throwing star or something. But anyway, I'm going to get that flip case thing, and I think that'll make it, when you fold it back, I think that'll make it a lot thicker and more comfortable in your hand. I understand what you're saying, jokes aside, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's thin. It's almost silly thin, but you got to respect a company that can do something that thin and stick a 3410 battery in it. Wow.
And a sliding
keyboard.
A sliding, let's all finish Brad's
sliding
sentences.
Mechanism in a physical. I mean, it's amazing. I just don't get it. I don't like my phones like I like my women. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I want some beefy phones.
I don't know
I'm
whether
a
you're
chubby
talking.
chaser when it comes to my phone.
I don't know whether you're talking about sliding or.
No, I've seen lots of iPhone. I've seen lots of iPhone fans complain about the thinness for the past several years. You go on to even Mac's iPhone sites, you see them complaining. Like, why keep making it impossibly thin when everybody keeps asking for longer battery lives? And that's part of their that old Steve Jobs legacy of we tell the customers what they want, and they're paying the price. Their market share has now dropped below 14% again.
Lovely.
Yeah, I was just lurking around, and I know we're ad hoc here in a conversation, but I was very interested to see how many people were waking up to the idea that Apple is a one-trick pony. And if you go on your favorite search engine and type Apple is a one-trick pony, you're going to find videos, articles up the yin-yang about how people are starting to wake up. And these are people in the media are starting to wake up, and people in investment sites starting to wake up on realizing / knowing that the iPhone is pretty much the only thing in the portfolio that's worth a pinch of coon, you know what, and there's starting to be a little rust shown.
Yeah, I saw that there was a report that just came out. Was it? Actually, BlackBerry even had it on Inside BlackBerry as a top. Was it 100 innovators or innovative companies? And Apple's in it. Aside from the fact that Apple was in it, That was surprising. The other thing that was surprising was they were listed as telecommunications company, not a computer company, as they've always been up until now. And
Really?
for me, that really stood out.
Where did you see this?
Oh, I think on BlackBerry had it on their site. It was inside BlackBerry on their blog. There was a report. Was it the Gartner Group or someone? It was a top 100 most innovative companies, and they just looked at patents.
Right.
Basically, patents is how they determine innovation.
Yeah.
And so Apple was in there, which in itself was surprising. But the fact that it was listed as a telecommunications company instead of a computer company.
That's interesting.
I'm just curious. Where did Google fall in that? And have they kind of received the same type of how do you say, image change?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember. See if I can find it.
Well, they're Alphabet now.
That's right. Yeah, because it comes back to what I've been saying recently about this idea that when we look at Apple, when we look at Google, Alphabet, we see mobile phone makers. That's what we see. That's what these companies are now perceived as. When we talk about this stuff, it's all about devices, handsets, making phones. People try and lump BlackBerry in with that group, and BlackBerry's not part of that group, or shouldn't be. They are far more than that. And I see that the internet is swinging to this idea that Apple and Android handset makers are simply that. They're just handset makers. They don't go in for solutions anymore. It's not about trying to get a holistic software, hardware package.
And that's true, but it's
typical
still about that. It's typical, chap, of humanity. I mean, it's what we hold in our hand. I hold this in my hand, and so, BlackBerry is a handset maker, because I'm a consumer or whatever, or I hold the Priv in my hand, and so BlackBerry is a handset maker. Same thing with Apple. They've sold billions of handsets, but only millions of computers, and so what do people think of them? I know what I think of them, but they're a handset maker. That's
Google
what they
do.
And that's exactly right. That they are a handset maker, and that's all they're really interested in, because that's where their revenue comes from. The problem is when you get people who are supposed to go in depth into these places, who basically report as if they're consumers, and pushing almost the consumer line, and digging the graves of great companies which should be doing great things for this world. It's my bone at the moment, and I'm going to keep picking at it until I come clean.
Google's listed as, it was Thomson Reuters that posted it on top 100 innovators.com, or let me see. Yeah. And they listed Google as being in software industry, and BlackBerry is telecommunications.
BlackBerry's also
which makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
And BlackBerry's telecommunications in a very broad sense. Absolutely. Makes sense.
Brad, I have a quick question for you.
Over there.
Yeah, Brad. When you're talking about the thin keyboard, how thin is it compared to your old Torch?
It's much larger than the Torch.
Wow. That's kind of hard to show.
But do you find it, though, thicker than the Torch's keyboard? I know it's bigger. Thicker.
What do you mean as far as thicker?
Thin?
Put them back to back.
Put them side to side like this.
Oh yeah, side to side, you mean?
Because you're talking so thin, right?
There's a very,
big difference.
It is a big difference, yeah.
Because I loved my Torch.
Me too.
I probably still would be using it.
Just because of the virtual keyboard? I'm such a dweeb.
Yeah, the entire Priv is about the width. Actually, it's even a little bit smaller than just the handset part without the screen of the torch. It's thin.
Sorry, brain fire for a second. Would you, with the case, do you think that'll make the difference for you to feel that bulk, or do you think you need more than that? Dave, you don't have a case on yours?
I hope so.
You know what, Kevin? My case that I ordered, which is the flip case that apparently the back of the phone clips into, and then the face folds over with a window. I think when I flip it back, I'm going to be able to increase my 80-20 rule, 80% virtual keyboard and 20% physical, probably to 70-30. I'm looking for that, and I'm hoping to get to 50-50. The only thing that's in the way for me to get to 50-50 is the actual size of the keys. Like I said before, when you look at the size of the keys, come on, Dave. When you look at the size of the keys, the passport is just so easy to just dive into. It's almost like living on your PC or something. It's gotten so second nature to me. And with the Priv, my thumbs hit each other when they don't need to because the keys are smaller. They're a little close together. So it's a learning thing. But I think that the comfort level of removing the thinness thing that Brad is talking about, the comfort level of having a proper case with nice spongy, or not spongy, but cushy leather, I think I'll be able to fly on the keyboard a little bit better. Looking for 70-30, hoping for 50-50.
See, and the only reason why I've never gone to the passport is because I love my virtual keyboard of the 30. I had my 10 for 2 years, and then it finally died on me, just the charging port. And then after that, I was like, no, I'll stick with my virtual because I find that so much faster. Because I have a work classic, and I find it much slower and more cumbersome than my virtual.
Yeah, I get that. And then that was exactly where I was before I went to the passport. I got so fast on the Z30, I just thought, well, why would anybody be talking about physical keyboards? And I love that thing. Well, today, like, obviously, it's kind of the same form factor on the Priv. I use the virtual keyboard 80% of the time, and it is exactly like a Z30, Z10, and I love it. And so it's part of it is Old Home Week because I'm just screaming on that thing. But the physical where was I? The physical keyboard of the passport is to die for. I got very, very, very fast on that too. The combination of being able to key on the physical keys and flick the words up, that's unparalleled also. Basically, it doesn't really matter what you like. BlackBerry makes the best keyboard on the planet Earth, virtual or physical. Don't care.
Agreed. I do have to ask a question, though. It seems to me that I'm the only person on the face of this planet who has not actually ever owned a slab. Every phone that I've got that's a smartphone has a keyboard on it. Granted, they've all been BlackBerries, but
Yeah, you were on what, 9900 before the Q10 or what?
Yeah, the 9800 before the 9900. So I had the OS 6 torch. I had the Bold 9900. I went to the Q10. Now I'm sitting on the passport. I've never had a full BlackBerry slab. Every phone I've ever had has keys on it.
Yeah, and the things we have in common, my friend, are that they are BlackBerry devices, and they make the best keyboards on planet Earth. virtual or
Yeah.
physical.
Which is why I'm quite happy to continue to say that physical will always be the better option. I've played with slabs. Maybe what you were saying about having to have it for a couple of weeks, maybe I need to sit down and consider whether I go down that route. But there's just no substituting that physical keyboard experience.
There's not. I jumped on the Z10 when that came out, and I became just a virtual keyboard fan. You know, it was and it still is the best virtual keyboard out there. But I was so fast on that thing, and I could type without looking, and I swore by it. And then I got
I saw you swear often. Yeah.
Yeah, I swear. But I got that little Q5, and within days, I had completely flipped back to physical keyboard. I mean, it's like the physical keyboard is home, and no matter how great that virtual keyboard is, I'll always go back to the physical.
I mean, I like the virtual component to the physical keyboard devices. I do like that. I like that it's, especially with the Passport, that it's really a 50-50 device. But I don't know, it's just something about that tactileness I just cannot move away from. I'll get the chance in a couple of weeks to actually have a bit of a play around with the Priv. But as you say, Dave, it's not going to be 2 weeks, it's only going to be a couple of hours. But I just, I don't know if I could bring myself to say virtual keyboard is the way to go.
Well, you going from a Passport to a Priv, and especially being the physical keyboard aficionado that you obviously are, you're going to flip open that screen. It's going to be the first damn thing that you do, and you're going to hop onto whatever, any kind of messaging thing that you can, or a document thing, whatever, just to try it out. And you are going to be running your fingernails into each other. You are going to find how slim the keyboard is and how close the keys are to each other. And initially, you're going to go, but these things take time, just like virtual keyboards do. So it's an adaptation process. I can't crap on this keyboard because it is functionally good. It is an excellent keyboard. It is not a piece of junk. It's not some piece of junk that Samsung made to slip on their Galaxy S, whatever the frick. You know, it's not that. It's not what the hell was the name of that piece of shit that they made for an iPhone?
Kevin's favorite. It was
thank you for forgetting about it.
Not our Kevin, the evil Kevin. The typo keyboard.
Yay! It's not that kind of a piece of crap. It's actually a functionally usable piece of equipment that is built into the unit, and it's completely usable. So
it's that delightful word that we like to use. It's integrated.
Yes, it is.
Well, I don't think it's the size of the keyboard. I really don't. No. I mean, I'm comparing. Go ahead, chat.
I completely agree with you, because I was just about to say that I was one of probably the few people that had the Torch, and I was actually able to say with all honesty that it's not too small. The keyboard, the physical keyboard, was not too small. I hear what you say, Dave, about the fact that my savagely long nails are going to play with each other on this new Priv keyboard.
Those are the nails that you use to kill crocodiles, right?
Nah, I just use my teeth.
Crikey.
But I didn't find the physical keyboard on the 9800 too small. I found it was good. Do I love the Passport keyboard? Yes, I do. I think it's a fantastic. It's unsurpassed in keyboard technology.
And I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think that was going to happen at all. I thought without the fourth row, why would I do it? And it blew me away.
Let's be honest. They will surpass this, but I just don't think that. I don't think it's going to be too small.
It's not. The issue is my issue is that fourth row. It took me a good 2 weeks of thinking this is too difficult for me to learn to use the passport because I kept hitting that Z thinking that I was hitting the Alt button. Now I'm not used to the Alt button anymore. And moving on to the Priv, the size isn't the problem because I can't flip back and forth from my Q5 to my passport because of the 4-row versus a 3-row. That's why I stopped using the Q5 and went back to my Z10 for my secondary phone. But I'm looking at them right now, and the Q5 keyboard and the Priv keyboard are the same size.
That's extremely interesting as a graphic.
Yeah, isn't it though? That's the big difference between phones. But the keyboard's the same size, and to me the issue is that fourth row. And I think people are comparing it to the passport and seeing that huge difference in size.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the way we type on the passport is entirely different than how we've typed on any other previous BlackBerry phone. And looking at the Torch that I just had here, there we go. Tiny little keyboard. I'm getting all my phones mixed up. Tiny little keyboard compared to the Priv. But, oh my God, I was fast on this thing. And I'm just like you, chap. I never complained that this was too small of a keyboard.
Yeah.
It's funny how we change and migrate with our machines and our tactile experience. That's interesting.
And we adapt. We do. I mean, it's what humans do. I mean, sometimes we adapt our stuff around us to match what we want, but we do. We adapt to what's in front of us. And I guarantee there's going to be a BB10 device that is going to surpass the passport, as absolutely mind-blowingly difficult as that is to conceive. The whole idea of working wide has blown us out of the water. It's done a great job, but there is going to be something that will surpass it. Is it the Priv? Probably not. But there's going to be something better, and we'll adapt to that, and we'll keep moving on, because that's what we do as human beings.
Well, I'm looking forward to whatever BlackBerry can pull out. There's nothing more I'd love to see than another muscular BB10 device. I want to see that.
We need the beast. There's always got to be a beast.
The next beast, because the passport is still a beast today.
Oh, is it ever? Is it ever? And you know, had it for over 12 months now, and it has not slowed. It has not let me down 1 inch.
No, it's amazing. BB10 is amazing. It never slugs out on me. It doesn't jitter. It's never weird. It's a killer machine. Killer.
The only jitters and lags I get are in Android apps.
Yes. Yep. And you get those on an Android phone. Would you believe it?
I would. I've seen Android tabs.
And I do.
Believe it.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the big criticisms of Priv, hasn't it? That there's the lag in the apps. The software's not what people have been expecting, because they're expecting a BB10 experience on an Android phone, which you're just not going to get. Doesn't matter who makes it.
I don't think we're going to get those complaints from Android users using the Priv, because I mean, it's honestly pretty quick and smooth. Which I haven't even had it a week yet, but compared to my other Androids, it's extremely quick and smooth. Compared to my passport using BB10 apps, yeah, there's a world of difference.
I will say one thing. Will you say more than one thing? Yeah, probably. Anyway, I will say one thing, and that is that BBM on the Priv is awesome.
That's a statement.
That makes one of us, Dave.
Echo.
Well, okay. But no, I'll say this. The BB10 on the Priv is my most used app, of course. It's my most used app on my Passport, too. And so far, it's the best running app I have on my Priv. But, my God, I hate the material design. It is the ugliest thing, and it sucks because we've got these little round icons that screw up our avatars. We've got all these little frou-frou colors for all the little word bubbles, and it's like this is the world of Android. You know, it's like I'm sitting there using BBM, and yeah, it works great, but I'm like, you know, there's got to be a better way, and it's like, oh wait, there is a better way. Let me grab my Passport. Looks so much better on my Passport.
Yeah, I get it. That's where we came from. I get it. Damn it. All I was talking about was the function.
There's one great thing, and I said it earlier, that little swipe up on it where it just pulls up your recent conversations. I love that. I want that on BB10.
Yeah,
I really do.
I know. But I was talking about the function, not the form. Necessarily, I'm not going to argue with you about the frou-frou colors because they are a little frou-frou. But I ignored that because all I cared about was the function, and I like being able to quote an already quoted message.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what about picture comments and groups? Because, you know, in a couple hours, Graham is going to wake up. And he's going to go through and he's going to comment on every picture in our group, and he's nuts. Let's just get this out there. Grim is nuts, but he'll go through and he'll comment on every picture in our group, and they're not showing up in my hub. Do they show up in your hub, Dave?
No, there's an option for that.
Is there?
That's the rumor.
Well, see, that's another thing too. That's another thing, because when I grab a BlackBerry 10 phone, I grab it, I install my accounts, you know, I install the apps I need, I put my wallpaper on, and the whole process takes what, about 15-20 minutes, and you hit the ground running. You're off.
Yep.
You're out the door, up and running. I am now, you know, I don't even know what day I bought my Priv. I'm, 3 days in with the Priv, 4 days in with the Priv. It's still not set up. And I mean, granted, I've had issues this week. I've had a really bad week. I've had issues this week that kind of got in my way.
Your shit issues, I know. But there's picture notifications and there's group notifications.
Where the hell did you find that?
In the place that you find things. If you go
That's another thing. That's another thing. The device is not as good as Universal.
It's fragmented. It's fragmented. I know. Anyway, so go into a group. I just went into UTB for BB10, and you press the 3 buttons on the top right, and then you're going to see group settings, and you're going to see group grouping. No, I mean group settings. That's what you'll see.
So you're talking about the picture notifications for this group.
Yeah, so you can.
Okay, because that just gives
that
you
on and off.
That doesn't put it in the hub.
It
doesn't put it in the hub, dude.
Well, I've turned everything off, so I don't know. I turned everything off.
I am frustrated.
That's what she said.
Have I talked about what a pretty screen it is?
Yes, you have.
Okay. Just wanted to get that.
Okay. Can I ask a question about the hub, guys?
Yes.
It seems that the hub is, for some, perhaps most, a substandard experience on the Priv for BlackBerry users in particular. Was it worth BlackBerry bringing the hub to the Priv, or was it worth BlackBerry just doing a Android-based integrated message box that is hub-like?
Pick me.
No.
Pick me.
The hub. I'm sorry, Dave. the hub needs to be there. And not just because it's BlackBerry, but I'm telling you, having used other Androids, the hub is worlds greater than their notification drawer. It just is.
Yet still the substandard experience from BB10.
Yes.
Yeah, I spoke to a TELUS employee, and he's obviously an Android freak. He really likes the Priv and was super confident and positive towards it, but was also, interestingly, guiding me towards the typical Android notification scenario as opposed to the hub. Because I brought up, well, you know, look where I came from. Go look at my history. You know, I'm a BB10 guy, a true blue. Cut me, I'll bleed BB10. And he goes, well, you know, I get that, but you should also check out, and so he started talking about the Android notification center, and to me, it's like something that's in the way. I want to brush
everything
it away.
goes in there. I mean,
I
you
want
get
it to get it out of the way.
notifications all day long from the notification center, and I've got those just silented. You know, I don't want to know about them. I don't want to see
every app I go to the app and I kill the notification center in it. I don't care. I don't want it. You're pissing me off. All I want is my messages in my hub, and if I want something more, I'll ask for it, but I don't need any more extraneous bullshit.
So notification center and hub kind of conflict. They work almost against each other. This seems to be what you're saying.
The Android notification center notifies you of everything, and there's no prioritization. You know, you can have a message, you can have an email that gets buried under 17 app updates that just that you don't even know what the update is. You know, I mean, for the Android notification center, you've got to be on top of it at all times if you want to be sure that you get all of your communications.
Yeah,
that's why when people would be like, "Oh, we've got the hub, we've got the notifications," it's like, no, it's not the same thing, not at all.
No, kill it before it multiplies. I've turned it all off. Every app, I go in and kill
it. Pardon me. Okay.
I think Dave also killed Kevin and Bartron, but...
You think that that's my fault?
No, they were both only here for a limited time.
Because listen, man, you threatened me, or accused me once before, and I threatened to get in my car, and I'm ready to go again.
Well, I just can't trust a BlackBerry user that gets a Priv, Dave.
Right. So both of us should look in a mirror.
I want to know why I took abuse on the channel for getting a Priv, and everybody was excited when Dave got one.
Hey, I like this. What the hell you talk about, Willis?
But that is obvious. It is obvious because Dave was going to get it anyway. It's a device. Dave's going to run out and buy it. Brad, right from the beginning, you had said, nope, not for me. Android, I don't think so. There's never going to be any scenario in which I'm going to get this thing, and you got it.
I think I'm going to.
Do you see where we're going here?
Well, see, it was really easy. It was really easy for me to put off the Passport and not get the Leap and not get these other phones because they just weren't in stores around me. This was nearby, man. I felt it when I drove by those carrier stores. It was calling to me.
Well, consider yourself lucky. we
I have no control over that.
Having said that, come mid to late December, maybe we'll have some other things to say about that.
That's why I was wondering if you had any news on your front. Nothing yet?
Nothing concrete. There are things I kind of have an idea of that I can't talk about, but I'll call it my hunch because I don't want to make any facts or claim any sources or anything like that. My hunch is before the year end, Australia will see the priv.
My hunch.
My hunch.
And it's my fault we don't have Roy here this week. He had asked earlier today before he went to bed if we were going to do this tonight, and at that point I wasn't sure. So I didn't tell him to wake up at 4 a.m, and I guess he doesn't do that normally.
Why would you? Why would you?
I don't know. He seems like he enjoys it. But yeah, I'm anxious to hear if he's had any luck down there in Israel getting the priv in, because he was hoping to get information this last week also.
Yeah. Well, I personally think that there's a bit of stalling going on, waiting for carriers to get on board here in Australia. But yeah, I will get a hands-on with the device probably before it gets to the stores. I won't be saying any more than that, but hopefully I'll be able to say something when it happens.
Good. I'm going to add one more thing while we're gapping. While Dave was talking about BBM on Android, I've got complaints from my Android friends. Why are we using this? It's hard, blah, blah, blah. But that's the only way I allow them to communicate with me. But now that I've used the Android BBM for a couple days, there's nothing wrong with it other than, how it looks and how I prefer it to look. It works great. There's no reason why BBM should not just be the standard communication messenger. And I'm going to push for that even more now.
That's kind of what I was getting at, Brad, and never mind the foo-foo colors and stuff. I was talking about the function. It works. It's not a flaky thing. It actually works. It feels like it's part of the machine. It feels like I came from BBM on a BlackBerry 10 device. It feels responsive. It sends messages, receives messages quickly. It's not flaky. It works. The things that are lacking are BBM video, which sucks on a large level, and it also sucks that we don't have blend, so we can have it on our desktop. But from a device perspective, it actually operates so far in 3 weeks for me flawlessly.
I wonder, with that, the whole Android user complaining, is it more the learning curve that it takes to use BBM over your standard WhatsApps, all that sort of jazz? And I mean, could it also be I'll call it the app gap mentality, but the fact that they've got more people on those other platforms than they do on BBM, and to ask people to say, let's cross to another platform, that's hard. That's hard to do.
It is hard.
We know that. We've been through that. Is it that people are just basically saying this is too hard basket because it's going to take longer than I expect to learn?
I don't think there's any more of a learning curve for it than any other messenger. I don't really use other messengers, but I've tried many throughout the years, and it's not like BBM is more difficult than any others. In fact, it seems to just make more sense than what I've tried on other devices. But like around me, nobody really uses messengers at all. Like if I bring up WhatsApp to the people that surround me, they don't know what I'm talking about. They don't know about BBM either until I make them put it on their phone. So I mean, everybody around me, we have unlimited texting. That's just a basic part of our plans, and everybody text messages. And getting them to download an app to text message, which is what they think I'm doing, I hit a lot of walls until they start using it and they start seeing, oh, I've got cool emojis, I've got, like this, I've got that. But it really
Voice over Wi-Fi.
What's that?
Yeah, voice over Wi-Fi, all those sort of features rather than just sending a straight text message. And you're right. I mean, the very fact that now with plans, calls and text are not the currency anymore. I've been talking about this a lot as well with certain people. Data is the currency for plans because of the smartphones, because of internet access, all that sort of stuff. Data is our currency. So carrier plans are going to be quick on getting you unlimited calls, unlimited texts, and they're going to be very slow on getting you big data packages. So people are going to have to pay more to get the data because they're using data over and above making phone calls and texts. I think that's probably why people are texting rather than messaging, because they can just whip off a quick text, doesn't cost them anything. The simplicity of that over having to download yet another app and do all that sort of stuff. But of course, with a BlackBerry device, it's not downloading another app, is it? It's already integrated, hardwired in. But again, getting people across to the platform, I think that's probably the big thing. When I first started out, I had no BBM users. It wasn't until I started, I think the 9900 was where I started to really utilize BBM. And it was getting in touch with you guys. Now I've got more users than I know what to do with. But yeah, I think it's that user base. Why am I spending so much time on this when I could just send a text message because I've got people's phone numbers?
Mm-hmm. To me, it's about creating a group of people that don't cough in my ear. And
sorry, dude. Hay fever. I've just been mowing the lawn.
And also creating a group of people that
spit it out, dude. Come on.
are into communicating unfettered. That can share files, share music, share voice, video, and other things unfettered in a secure fashion. I don't understand why people don't want to do that. I don't understand why people want to sign into things that share their phone number when they don't have to. It's retarded. Sorry, that was a non-PC thing to say. To me, it should be ubiquitous. It should be replace SMS. It's on every platform. It's ridiculous. BBM is the way I want to communicate. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you that even though my son is on a BB10 device, he texts me instead. And I reply to him on BBM. And, if he wants me to pick him up from work, then I'll send him a glimpse through BBM to show him where I'm coming from. But to go along with that, the generations coming and the generations that exist that are below us, or upcoming, shall I say, they are completely willing and able to adopt to new things way faster than we thought we ever would. So all you have to do is show them something, and they'll show you stuff after that you never thought existed on that thing. So it's not like it's hard to learn. New adopters are easily going to adopt BlackBerry Messenger easily. All you have to do is show them.
Going back to your son, though, Dave, are you his only BBM contact?
My son?
Yeah.
No.
No?
Does
he have lots?
There's two people on this blogcast. There's two people that dropped off. There's like 50 plus more.
No, he's asking,
are you
your son's only contact?
does your son only have you as a BBM contact?
No, he has other BBM contacts.
Okay.
No. Through other affiliations of UTB.
Okay, so it's UTB centric. But obviously with his social circle, his go-to messaging is SMS because that's what they're all using. So again,
Yeah.
I think for us, our go-to messaging is BBM. That's
Right.
We think I've got to send a message. Oh, I BBM it. That's what I want to do first and foremost. It's the top of our list. But I think for most people, because they've got that unlimited SMS, texting is top of their list. Platforms come down the list, and it's that data usage.
I have people on BBM that are like 50-50 SMS and BBMing me.
That's when you just ignore their SMS messages. Come on, I can't be the only one that's done this.
I have an auto reply on SMS. Looks like this.
Good.
Actually, it's funny, if somebody SMSs me and I don't have them as a BBM contact, I'll email them.
Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm joking. You can SMS me all the time. It's all good. I love it. I love you all. I love everybody. It's all good.
Oh, man. Okay.
And stuff. So, Brad, I have a question for you, man.
Go for it.
Are you going to replace your guitars?
I've still got one. They didn't want that one. Okay, this is my life over the last 2 weeks. I got sick.
Yeah, we need to hear this. There have been far too many hints throughout this blogcast. Tell your story.
I got sick. I got a cold. I got over the cold amazingly fast, but somehow during the cold, I coughed so much I threw my back out. So for about the past 2 weeks, I've been walking like an old man. And finally get to where I'm walking like a human being, and I worked really long helping somebody else out last night. Got home about 3 hours later than I normally do, just to find out that my house was broken into, and had some stuff stolen, and ended up spending the night sleeping on the couch next to a door that I couldn't get shut last night, just to wake up this morning to figure out it was easier to fix than I thought last night. So yeah, I'm tired. I'm grumpy. I have a freaking Android phone. Welcome to my life.
That's not what the question was, but good synopsis.
Yeah, and then you have to moderate this nonsense.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Yeah. I thought I had a problem. Look at these two guys.
What did I do?
I don't know. You're Australian. Isn't that enough?
Oh, calm down, Canadian, eh?
Yeah.
We're now an hour.
I'll be forced to treat you like a shark.
Send some up here. We don't have any.
I'm on a bit of a high myself at the moment. We've got our last performance of our play tonight, which is crazy. 3 weeks gone already.
Break a leg, chap.
Just not your
the
own.
Other 7. Yeah, that's right. I'll go out and find some sharks to snap his tail or something.
All right, guys, we're well over our time. Do you want to call it?
Absolutely.
Go ahead and pull the
it's
plug.
a thing.
Go ahead and pull the plug, Brad. You've had a crappy week and you're pissed off and all that stuff, so might as well just pull it.
Yeah. Let's put this thing out of its misery.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.
See you later, everyone.